Building Public Finance Capabilities Program, BPFC, a guided tour. Over the past 30 years, African countries have introduced reforms to improve the management of public finances. In a context of scarce resources and enormous social and economic backlogs, these reforms aimed to ensure greater efficiency and effectiveness in the allocation of resources to government's national priorities. A common approach of these reforms has been to mimic the practices of developed countries in the hope that they would deliver similar results, irrespective of the political, economic, and administrative contexts. Best practice reforms, such as the shift from annual budgeting to medium-term or program-based budgeting, have had limited success in improving the functionality of PFM systems and service delivery. High and unaffordable wage bills persist, despite low salaries paid to public officials. Unapproved or off-budget expenditure continues to divert resources away from priority programs, and capabilities at the point of service delivery appear to be eroding. In response, CABRI developed the Building Public Finance Capabilities Program, an action learning program jointly developed with the Building State Capability Program of Harvard Kennedy School. The program applies a unique approach to public finance reform, the problem-driven iterative adaptation, or PDIA. Central to the approach is the recognition that a deep understanding of public finance problems and their causes is critical to developing relevant and effective solutions to improve countries' PFM systems. Let's take a look at an example of a public finance problem that contributes to a service delivery failure. 25 schools in a municipality received their textbooks 3 months after the school year had started. After investigation, it was found that the learning materials that were eventually purchased were damaged, as they had been poorly stored in a warehouse. Most practitioners would blame the occurrence on the absence of clear procurement regulations, arguing that the problem is a lack of procurement laws. However, framing the problem in this way effectively premeditates a solution. Inherently, it means that the introduction of a procurement law is the only way to solve it. Believing that the introduction of a procurement law on its own will ensure that the goods are purchased on time and in acceptable quality reveals a bias towards the implementation of best practices. The delays in supplying learning material to schools is the real problem. The impact that the lack of learning material had on numeracy skills for 2,500 pupils is the real problem. The problem cannot be addressed solely with the introduction of an updated procurement law. Other root causes must be considered and addressed, such as local officials who lack capabilities to procure goods or manage service providers efficiently, or inadequate road access to schools. By understanding the real problem and by identifying its causes, more effective and context-appropriate solutions can be implemented. In this case, some of the solutions may include to provide skills training to local government officials on procurement of school material, strengthen performance monitoring, or maintain road infrastructure to improve accessibility to schools. CABRI's BPFC program supports African governments to develop context-specific and effective solutions to long-festering and complex public finance problems. The program applies the following PDIA principles. Locally nominated problems draw attention to the need for change and facilitate the development of context-appropriate reforms. Local teams of government officials are best placed to carry out reforms in their own countries. They understand their context best and can convene and consult with a wide range of stakeholders in their own countries. Given the complexity of PFM problems, reforms require constant review of what is and isn't working and adapting action plans as new non-technical aspects are uncovered. So, what does the Building PF Capabilities program entail? Countries apply to the program by completing the application form, where they identify a pressing problem within the planning, allocation, and execution of public finances. For this application, countries require a real problem, not a premeditated solution. Think about an issue that keeps you or your minister up at night. A problem that is measurable and consequential, which usually is supported by data on its extent and implications. A committed team of 6 officials who are assigned to work on the problem. Teams typically dedicate 5 hours per week throughout this program, which includes gathering and analyzing data on their problem, regularly consulting key stakeholders to gain new perspectives on the problem, and political and administrative support for the team's work. Weekly team meetings to share progress, challenges, insights, clarify objectives, and agree on next steps. An authorizer's sign-off, a minister or permanent secretary who approves the team's participation to the program, the problem identified, and supports the team throughout the program. If the application is accepted, teams complete a 5-week online course on the PDIA approach and learn how it can be applied to their problem. Teams attend a 4-day framing workshop where they engage with peers from other countries and further deconstruct their problem statements. Each team is allocated a coach from the CABRI Secretariat. Following the framing workshop, teams collaborate with their coaches in a 7-month action learning phase, during which teams work in small steps to implement the actions identified, unpack their problem further, experiment, and learn with new ideas to solve the problem and regularly assess progress and next steps. At the end of the formal program, all teams attend a progress review workshop where they share their progress, what they learned, and further actions that they will undertake to solve their problem. If you have any questions or would like to inquire about participating in the program, please do not hesitate to contact the CABRI Secretariat at building.capabilities@cabri-sbo.org. We look forward to going through this journey with you.